this is the behavior of the left. They've been allowed to do this for the past, longer than the past 5 years, because it really did work up to the summer of love that we had, right? So there was Ferguson in 2013, I think is when
something like that.
I think it was like 2013. And then there were all the riots at schools when they were trying to shut down speakers and all the violence that was going on there. And then it kind of came to a crescendo in 2020. But the left has been violent and destroying property and firebombing things for the better part of the past 10 years.
Well, and I mean, go back to the 60s. They were doing it
sure.
then too, sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just go back to the 80s, and there was a bombing in Congress.
Like Weather Underground was like 60s.
Weather
70s.
Underground was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Between 71 and 72, they set off 2,500 bombs in the United States.
Killed
and then
somebody.
they did a bunch of bombs throughout the rest of the 70s.
And didn't they blow up a brownstone in Greenwich Village?
They did kill someone. So I mean, this is not the idea that the left is passive or whatever is ridiculous. And it's something that the FBI, they should do everything they can to round these people up and put them in jail forever or for as long as possible.
So here's the video out of Kansas. And again, I guess there's no audio on this, or is that us? Okay, so I guess these videos don't have any sound. This is a guy who tweeted, just drove by local Kansas City Tesla dealership, barely caught footage of a girl in a black dress running away. Yo, this is getting scary. The Daily Beast, Elon Musk cries terrorism after Las Vegas Tesla car fires.
That is terrorism.
It is.
Blowing up
it
car
is.
dealerships is a terrorist act.
And the White House said in a press briefing, I believe it was last week or the week prior, last week, like March 12th or something, that they were going to be investigating these as domestic terror incidents. And just like that article, the media started making fun of them and basically telling them not to believe their lying eyes. They pulled a fiery but mostly peaceful moment. We did a roundup of this at the Daily Caller. Vox characterized it as, quote, very spirited, peaceful demonstrations. And an MSNBC anchor said, just to be clear, you protest a private company, you are labeled by this administration a domestic terrorist. These aren't protests. These are acts of violence. I mean, it should be obvious, but these people are obsessed with running cover for the worst of society, whether it's Trende Aragua people being deported or people firebombing Tesla dealerships.
Let me play this clip from, this is Charlie Kirk.
What does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation. I believe he's working toward a civil war.
That's Maxine Waters. Then we have this. This is data analyst Barbara Walter, hired by the CIA to predict the likelihood of civil wars developing in foreign countries. She believes the United States is potentially years away from another civil war. These are people on the left. So what I love about this is they're going to lie to you. And what you need to understand, we here at Timcast have been bringing up the possibility of civil war for some time. Many of you may not know that. And the response from liberals has always been to take clips and insult me and the show and say either we're trying to make it happen or we're crazy people for suggesting it could. At the same time, while they're putting out that outward propaganda to say, haha, look how stupid these people are, their experts and politicians behind the scenes have been warning them it is coming for some time. So I think the difficult question, or I should say the difficult scenario, the better way to put it, as we watch them engage in overt acts of terror against Elon Musk, and it is terror. They are attacking Tesla dealerships, not because they don't like his cars, not because he mistreats employees or any other accusation they may have come up with, but literally because he's working with the current administration. That is purely political. And while we are watching it happen with our own eyes, the media is coming out and saying, it's a protest, it's a protest, it's a protest. They did this in 2020, peaceful protests, mostly peaceful protests. They're not going to stop lying. And so you need to understand something. The people who write those articles and go on the MSNBC shows, do you believe these people genuinely don't understand what they're doing? I do not believe for 2 seconds that you can watch a bunch of black-clad individuals firebomb buildings and then call that a peaceful protest knowingly. No one is that stupid. They're obfuscating and covering up for their revolutionaries, or whatever you would want to call them, for their terrorists. And they want to keep as many people in the dark as possible for as long as possible and shift the blame to those that are being attacked.
Well, yeah, and they don't want you to, like you were saying, they don't want you to think that it's terrorism. They go out of their way to make sure to use softer language. It's like the fiery but mostly peaceful protests that we saw in August 2020 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which was absolutely insane. And you actually had the Trump Rapid Response Twitter account put out a tweet, just like a video from MSNBC. I want to say it was Abby Phillip. Is she CNN? Whatever. Anyway, I want to say it was Abby Phillip talking about how these were not terrorist attacks. They're, it's just a protest. And then they put the clip of fiery but mostly peaceful from that summer in 2020 on the end of it, just to make the point. And that is the point. That is what these pundits are doing. They're very clear that they want this to be called a protest. And I don't know how you guys deal with it at Daily Caller, but I think a lot of times when we're running stories about protests or whatever, we're careful if you're occupying a building and beating up janitors at Columbia University, we're not calling you protesters.
No. I mean, no, we don't sanitize our language. We call things what they are, which is the role of alternative and conservative media, because
it should be the role
mainstream,
of media generally.
it should be, but it's not. So you have to have the alternative to present people with factual information.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.